Hello again, Internet. I'm sick again, so I've decided to take this opportunity to ramble a little less disjointedly than normal, because now I have notes, about role-playing games in general and Dungeons & Dragons in particular. And the best advice, I think, that exists for new Dungeon Masters, that's right, new Dungeon Masters, all maybe dozen of you who plan to subject yourselves to that, is be fans of the adventurers. This was advice presented in Dungeon World, which is high fantasy run on the Apocalypse engine, which is a pretty good engine for running role-playing games. Dungeon World is a great game made by Sage Kobold, and I don't have any issues with it, really. It's in somewhat need of a better initiative system, read as any initiative system, but at the same time it kind of doesn't. You just kind of have to get used to how its initiative actually works. But that's a tangent that I could make a whole video off of, just initiatives in role-playing games. The best advice Dungeon World has is, if you're running the game, be a fan of the player characters. Be a fan of the adventurers, because you will have more fun that way, and they will have way more fun that way. It is so gratifying to see player characters just do awesome things. So set them up to do awesome things. If someone is a rogue, if someone is a thief, set them up with opportunities to be a sneak, to be thieving, to just skulk around in the shadows, pilfering stuff, or, you know, doing the Ezio Auditore thing and assassinating all of the guards before finally cornering the person they're supposed to be guarding and going, "Ha-ha, stab!" Set them up to do things like that. And more than that, let's say you do this, you set up this little sneak thing for the rogue, but the barbarian would rather solve it another way. Let the adventurers at least try to solve the problem their way. Alright? The party will talk about a plan. The party will... I'm sorry, the camera just shook right now. The party will come up with a plan on their own, and may or may not stick with it. But at least let them try to solve it their way. Like, not every guard needs to be sneaked around. Not every monster needs to be brutally murdered at the hands of Grognakor the Mighty of the half-orc tribe living out in the middle of the sticks somewhere. Alright? Maybe the guards can be tricked. I had a fighter once who walked his way into an enemy camp without killing anybody, just walked into the middle of the camp pretending to be part of their army. This worked, and the rest of the party looked on from a distance in shock, just like, what? What is going on? How did the fighter trick the guards? Well, because the fighter, out of everyone, probably knows what the guards are looking for in terms of whether or not someone might legitimately be part of this army. So yeah, those guards didn't need to die. I didn't need to bash them around with my fighter. And the rogue could and did very well sneak past them. But there was this solution that was, I'm going to solve it my way. And the DM, much to her credit, let me do that, even though the book probably had something about, this would be really hard, and maybe don't explicitly let them... No, DM is like, do it. That's funny. Just watching the guards get duped by someone who is not the bard or the rogue is funny to some people, apparently. It was funny at the time. That being said, not every group of NPCs needs to be saved or spared, alright? I had one group of players who, in the middle of a wedding, this was the intro to the campaign, middle of a wedding, a zombie ogre, burst in through the doors, and their solution was to set the building they're in, which was a church, on fire. They're solving the problem their way. And they're cackling like they're just completely mad. As the cleric, in the middle of all the fire, is trying to turn undead with the zombie ogre, which he decides sounds like, shoot, go away, just buzz off, shoot! And the ogre is, I think it worked for like a round before the ogre decided, I'm 3 times as big as you'll ever be, and decide to just smash pews, and eventually everything burned up. But that didn't stop the rogue from saving things from the reliquary, and that campaign didn't last very long. The adventurers were not good people, but you gotta be a fan of the adventurers anyway. You gotta set them up to do things that are just what they do, or let them try to solve problems their own special, unique way. Super special and really unique way in some cases. Like negotiating with the dragon, which I've had players do, and it's always memorable because they know if the dragon doesn't like this deal, he's gonna eat us. And the dragon would have, but you gotta let him try to talk things out if that's what they want to do. More than that, though, in being fans of the adventurers, never, ever put a spotlight on your non-player characters, unless they are directly saying something, alright? Because player characters, or players I should say, will do that themselves. They will ask, okay, we're doing this, what are the guards doing? Or, we say this, how does the king we're talking to respond? Alright? In Dungeon World, once again, you have this concept of the GM gets to make moves, and one of the opportunities you have to make moves is when the players look to you and ask what happens. Use this. Alright? Just tell them what these things they're looking to are about. Tell them what they're doing. Alright? If they ask, what are the guards doing? Come up with something. Alright? Either the guards are just kind of watching you like, what is this guy talking about? Or the guards start to reach for their weapons like, are they an assassin? 'Cause that's something an assassin might say. I've got my broadsword. Stuff like that. Just be a fan of your adventurers. You will have more fun watching what they do, and they will have more fun with the world's most captive audience of one. That's what you are as a dungeon master. You're 1 part director and 1 part audience. Enjoy yourself, and more than that, enjoy the company of your adventuring party. Because if you're not doing that, you know, if you're not running a game for your players, who are you really running it for? That's all I've got to say. I'm gonna go try to recover from whatever strange malady I have come down with. I hope the rest of you have an absolutely wonderful day.